guy. I actually saw Xavier McKinney, and he talked about having Dave's in the building, easy going, fun time, different than when Judge was there. And I think all the players are enjoying it, and they're playing hard for Dave's right now.
Wow. Late night, WEEI. It's KJ, 617-779-7937. The text line, 37937. Still to come, one of the childhood icons of my youth. And I butted heads in a good way. I'll tell you about that in about 20 minutes. That's Devin McCourty. During the bye week, he was able to go on the CBS pregame show and give his thoughts of pretty much while Daboll works and while Joe Judge didn't in New York. And now, here's what I'll say just from knowing the McCourty twins a little bit. That's very out of skin in terms of discussing indirectly coaching on your current staff. Now, he did predicate it by saying, hey, I spoke to another player, and this is what they were saying. So I don't necessarily think that McCourty's saying, oh, Daboll is much better than Judge. I think that's what it comes off as, but I think it was very smart on Devin's part to say, hey, I spoke to and gave the name. So Ty Law was on the Greg Hill show early this morning, Ty Law Tuesdays, very revealing and adventurous. Last week it was avoiding a coyote. This week, he's talking about Devin McCourty going on a CBS pregame and not a fan.
I mean, there's certain things you're supposed to keep to yourself. You know, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, but, you know, he should have just kept that one to himself because people tend to blow that out of proportion and run with it. He was saying what other guys have said in the locker room, but, you know, it's just certain things you don't say, and he made a mistake. Yes, he apologized, as you said, to Joe Judge, but, you know, you just got to think before you speak sometimes. But, I mean, it happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Dave Chappelle was saying on Saturday Night Live. Some things you just don't say out loud. And that's why I'm surprised but not shocked that Devin McCourty said that. Because he's this far into his career. You know, James White, who's getting into a professional career, is not going to say something like that. Because even though you're not going to be playing anymore, you're still very close to the situation. And you just don't want to ruffle feathers when you're starting something anew. Devin McCourty, I think he's just like, you know what, I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. And I can hear it in Ty Law's voice, kind of like, come on, man. You kind of know the rules. Go all in for team. That includes your coaches, too. Here's Bill Belichick on his thoughts on Devin McCourty's appearance on CBS.
Well, I mean, as you know, all the things we do go through our media relations department. So how those things get processed and so forth. I don't know, just trying to coach a team.
And so you're cool with the players trying to find like media gigs throughout the year. I'm like, oh, if you got some free time, want to try and grab a media gig? It's all good.
Yeah, again, those things are handled through our media relations department.
Yeah. Bill reminding the tenets of the Patriot way. That falls under manage expectations and go all in for team. So, yes, you understand that players are going to be looking towards what their future looks like. And, yes, players see what the landscape is like, that you have to have some type of persona or a little bit of, electricity value to you, like a little bit, And that's what Devin McCourty provided. A little zzz. That sounds more like a cattle brander right there. And I think some of them get that. Unfortunate because I think, eventually you'll have a lot of players trying to outdo each other. And sometimes when I hear players, because here's the thing, like when I'm up here, I'm not here to give you a bunch of numbers. I hated math class. Well, I'll give you numbers when you need them, but my goodness, let's just talk like we're in the living room and having brews, if you can have brews. And some of the players who all they've done is play football and they clearly see this as another path to go. I should just start coaching. I should be a media coach, Joe. I really should. I should be a media coach, announce my retirement from the industry because these guys can pay me a lot more.
Just trying to coach a team.
Just trying to coach a team. And that's where Belichick that's where he has to fall in. He can't make any statements about that because now you get into, is he chastising a player in public? and it rolls into something bigger. You know how the snowballs go with the media. Someone says hot shoe. You'd be like, oh my gosh, he said something offensive. It's like, no, he just sneezed. No, you didn't hear the words he said? When I sneeze, I go, ha chew. No. You know how it gets out of hand. And so I think, again, that what Devin McCourty said was a little bigger window into what fans are trying to figure out, like, what is going on with this team?
do you think it affects them on the field in a certain way? I personally don't think it does because McCourty's a defensive guy and Joe Judge is an offensive guy.
Well, I think it doesn't affect, it's not going to affect him on the field because Devin McCourty is a team leader, right? And so if it's a team leader who's saying these things, it's not like, hey, one of the new guys, it's not like Bailey Zappi's going to come and say, hey, Devin, what you said, I didn't really appreciate what you said on the, no. The way football works, the way the locker room works is as the leaders go, so goes the team. So Matthew Slater, Devin McCourty, those guys are going to have the full-on attention of the entire locker room because they are the elder statesmen. And when the elder statesman makes a statement like that, it could be to kind of solidify the players and the team to say, I just kind of release this little balloon for people to understand that I got to protect this team better than probably it's being protected. And I think that might just be to protect Mac Jones because that's who's been bombarded the most. No questions. If anything, and kind of unfairly in some regards as well, is that Mac Jones has taken a bigger hit on the storyline than Patricia and Judge has.